Okay, see you. Nice to meet you. And let's begin our coaching. And from your video, I saw a lot of good points on your video. For example, good engagement. I find you get well along with your students. The students engage your topic actively, very actively. And you have a very clear transition and get student attention successfully. For example, you say last, and student says yes, yes. You got all the students' attention immediately. And you gave a very timely on-the-spot correction. I noticed that when you found the bad behaviors in the classroom, you would correct the timely in verbal and non-verbal ways. It's very effective to do that. Of course, you have a lot of good points here, and I just mentioned some of them. And now let's begin some places to improve. And I have 3 places to improve, to focus. And the first is a specific individual subject goal setting. And I noticed that you have spent almost 4 minutes to talk about the student's reading goal. You mentioned that the goal need not to be stressful or too easy, should be challenging. You give principles how to set a reading goal. It's very good for the students to do that. But I noticed that what those specific goals for each student is, who will help them to set the goal. You have no clear and specific instruction and plan to set the subject goals for each student. I don't think for the elementary students to set their goals by self-discipline because they are so young. So it is the first question. The second question is build clearly classroom rules. I noticed that the students talk freely, and I heard the whistling and the beast roaring, and saw a kid playing his eraser, and a kid lying on the floor. And when students answer your questions, you don't get used to raise their hand and then answer it with your permission. Maybe it makes the classroom active, but it seemed a little chaotic and confusing. The third question is classroom physical environment. When you ask your students to come down to the front, I notice it seems that the place is not big enough for all students. Some students are lying on the floor behind the desk, or sitting behind the chair, or sit back of the middle desk. And at the same time, it seems that the students are not comfortable to sit on the ground, so on the floor. Here, for the 3 questions, I have question is to improve the subject goal setting and to build clear room rules and to pay more attention to classroom physical environment. My strategies I recommend is for the first questions. In order to more productive learning, I recommend that you have a clearly plan and the instruction for each student and have them with setting the clear challenging reading goal, or help them to review and adjust their goals regularly. And for the 2 questions, I recommend that you build clear classroom norms and rules with your students. And the third, for the first 3 questions, I recommend that you rearrange the physical environment of the classroom, and to make the desk and the chairs easy to move, or make a big enough room ahead of time for students to sit together. I like to organize students to sit in front of the classroom, but you must make enough rooms for them first. And I think students and you will benefit from the strategies I recommend. Students will know their reading goals clearly, and challenging goals help them to achieve more. And the teacher will know students well by setting, reviewing, and adjusting the goals of students so as to differentiate the instructions. And students will get a more orderly environment and reduce the teacher's correcting time in the classroom and students' distractions. Students will get a comfortable physical environment and reduce the classroom distractions, make students more focusing on learning. I do want to some feedback about this, or some your ideas about it.
Okay, I'm very grateful for your clear suggestions, and I'm very happy to see and you give many specific suggestions for me to improve my teaching skills. And I think I can use your suggestions and to make my class and to make my students benefit from your suggestions. And very thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's talk about what the next actions.
Okay.
The week 1, we will have 3 actions: the beginning, the middle, of the end of the week. And we will hope you arrange time to establish reading goals with students together, maybe one by one, or just similar groups together, several students together like that. And to clarify the rules of the classroom and reach a consensus with the students, design a poster and post it on the classroom, and rearrange the physical environment of your classroom. And the week 1, but we have 3 monitors in this week. And the beginning of week 1, discuss subjects, goals, setting plans with me first. And the middle, I will review the executing the situation. And at the end of the week 1, we will review the memo about the goal setting. And the week 2 and 3, you will review the goals. You will do that by yourself and review the goals, and with students adjusting like that if necessary, and correct the behavior against classroom rules and make students get used to it on your classroom. Correct their behaviors constantly, and adjust the physical environment constantly, and reach the ideal standards. And week 2 and 3, we will monitor the memos and interview students randomly. We will ask some students to what is going on. And we will attend in your classroom and observing the classroom order. And the last week, the week 4, you will do the regular review, the subject goals, and adding to the memo if you have. And the proper will hope to see the proper classroom behaviors and the comfortable physical environment for students. And the week 4's monitor is I will see the memo if you have adding some, and monitor the classroom order constantly. They will all done in this month. I will continue to follow up these three questions, and we'll get feedback from the teachers and students based on the coach plan. And maybe next 2 months or next 2 months to do that. I think it's very few actions to do. And that's all our coaching plan. Do you have some questions or something about that?
Okay, and I think it's really a very elaborate coaching plan, and I will follow your suggestions and try my best to make my classroom better. Okay.
Thank you for your so nice again to the coaching plan. Thank you. We will hope you will improve in our classroom.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hi, Jen. I'm pleased to be your mentor, and it's a great opportunity for us to improve together. And after your class, to my surprise, your course materials and preparation are perfect. I can see you make your effort on your teaching area, and in order to make you better, I will also give some suggestions to you. Now I will share my ideas to you, and we will focus on two areas. The first is about the class climate, and the second is about the classroom management. So there are some reflective questions. There are almost three questions. And the first is, I think if you can make your class content more interesting, it's better for your students, because your students is very younger and they need some activity for them to use their energy, and instead of sitting, because after a long sitting they cannot concentrate on your class. And the second, I think you can using some colorful poster to decorate your classroom. I noticed you have different kinds of posters, that is, you can write some classroom notes in your classroom, but they are not very colorful. In that kind of and this age of students, they like more visual, and they can use their eyes to feel the world. So I think use more colorful poster will be better. And the relationship between teacher and student is very important for our teaching. So we can have some rooms for us to improve. And then about the recommended strategies, such as we can strengthen the class notes to students' advice, and we can use some interest transition for you, such as use some gestures. Because I just noticed you can use your verbal transitions, such as sit quietly or others. If we can use our gestures, it will be better for our class. And next, I think we need to set in high expectation for our students, because younger children are more active, so that it is important for teachers to be more patient with them. When a student cannot answer a question, have other students give them hints instead of the right answer will be better. Because if the other students tell the right answer, sometimes it's not great for someone. They don't have they have make the wrong answer. And next is about the students' benefits. I think you use the follow suggestions. students are more likely to follow the classroom norms, and they will be more focused on your class. And when students have better relationship with the teacher, it's easier for them to create a positive classroom climate. And then we need some weeks for you to do and for you to improve your teaching skill. I think in the first week, we can changing our classroom poster first. We use the colorful poster, and we will strengthen the classroom norms before class and strengthen and tell our kids about the importance for the class for the norms. And in the next week, I think we need to try to use a more enthusiastic tone when encourage students. I notice in your class the students is very active and they want to answer your questions. Some students answer right and you give the feedback. If we use an enthusiastic tone, will encouraging the students more. And I think in the same week, we can use some more interesting activity to fulfill your classroom and make the students more focused on the teaching. And about my monetary plan, 1 week later, I will go to your classroom and check if they have changed the posters. And next, I will go back to the teacher's class to see if the classroom climate become more positive. And last, I will talk with you about your feeling and changing something during this month. Yes, and it's really a long term for you to improve because class climate and classroom management is really like a course for us to study. And here I only can give you some ideas, and maybe we will have another time for us to have another discussion.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions and listening. Yes, and it's really a long term for you to improve because climate and classroom management is really like a course for us to study. And here I only can give you some ideas, and maybe we will have another time for us to have another discussion.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions and listening.